Hi, I'm a technology partner architect at IBM. Now I work with IBM's partner ecosystem.
Howdy, partner.
And I'm responsible for all things data, AI, and automation from a technical perspective. Let's talk about Data Fabric. Why? Well, because we are currently in a new era of technology. And to be honest, we've got a huge mess on our hands. Let's rewind a bit and see how we got here. The year is 1971. We're introduced to Moore's Law, which was all about computing power. Winners like IBM and HP grew their competitive advantage through increasingly more powerful servers and computers that completed transactions ever faster. This launched us into a data explosion. Starting in 1995, the technology scene is focused on Metcalfes Law, emphasizing networks and connectivity. Winners in this era, like Google, Amazon, Netflix, and Facebook, won by creating powerful digital centers of gravity for their users and customers. Beyond connecting just systems together, technology began connecting to many aspects of users' and customers' lives. Today, we find ourselves in the knowledge era, which is focused on leveraging data and AI to make better decisions in the enterprise. But there's a problem. Available data from multitudes of sources is increasing rapidly, but the knowledge or usable data is staying roughly the same. There's a massive gap of unused data. Winners today will be companies that manage to leverage their data and information to become agile, predictive, and produce superior products and experiences.
Now, it's fairly easy to see why that massive gap exists between the growing sources of available data and the limited knowledge derived from it. Companies have been building architectures of best of breed and point products for years, for decades even. Now, this has resulted in architectures that are difficult to maintain, hard to use, and ultimately not used at all by the folks that would benefit most from the data. This common state of complexity leads to 60 to 73% of data going unused. Now, think of it this way. When an architectural design is harder to maintain than it is to use, it simply won't be used. The IBM Data Fabric intends to close that gap between available data and knowledge or insights. It does this by providing simplicity. The IBM Data Fabric is a capability provided by Cloud Pak for data, allowing you to leverage any data in any location and run your system in any cloud, even your own on-premises. Run our analytics 8 times faster than competitive analytics data store solutions at half the cost in a secure environment that doesn't require copying or moving your data. Let me show you how. Now, typically, business users are dependent on IT resources to find data, integrate data with other sources, and make it available for consumption, which is typically labor-intensive and slow. With Cloud Pak for data, you can use data virtualization to connect to all data sources seamlessly and securely in a single location. With data virtualization, you can query data across the many systems where it resides without having to copy or replicate it. Now, to ensure that data in the system of record remains highly protected, business users have limited access, which means that you can use any of the virtual data to which you or your group were granted access. You can quickly access the data by creating new views based on the virtual tables. In our example here, the data comes from 3 different data sources, in this case MongoDB, PostgreSQL, and DB2. So you can filter by tables or views, or you can search for a specific virtual object. Notice here that 3 columns contained masked data. We can look at the table structure, and we can look at the table's metadata. To enable any analytics team to easily find, understand, and access available data, we can establish an enterprise knowledge base that uses the Watson Knowledge Catalog capabilities in Cloud Pak for data. Now,
This knowledge base contains information about any available data asset, including profiling and classification details, business definitions, and links to other assets in the organization. This knowledge base is also underpinned by privacy and governance policies and rules. Now, the rules trigger actions when a new data asset is added to the catalog or when a user attempts to access an asset that contains personal information. Now here, note that some of the data, email address, phone number, social security number, is being masked because of these data privacy rules. There is profiling information available on the data, and we can see a timeline of events that have occurred on the data asset. Now that we can quickly find any available data asset, we can put this data to use. You can create custom views by combining found data assets and then add those views to a project, which your analytics team can then use in analytics and data science models. For example, we can join two tables to create a virtual asset. Here's our simple joined data set. We can edit the new asset to appear any way we like. Finalize our new virtual view and add it to a project. Now this asset is a virtual view that connects multiple, in this case 2, data assets. This makes it very easy to access and use data from different data sources. Notice that 3 columns here remain masked and protected. The data protection rules are persisted from the governance catalog. And we can see here that it was indeed associated with a project as a data asset. Now let's refine the data to increase its usability. In this case, we will simply split the name column into new columns, first name and last name. First name, last name, and full name. Run the job. And this job will create a new data asset in the project or overwrite the file if it already existed in the project. So here's the new CSV file that the data flow created. Notice that there are 2 new columns and the original column has been renamed. Also take note that some columns are still masked and protected, right? This is a simple scenario, but our data set is now ready to provide insights for advanced analytics. I hope that I adequately demonstrated to you how the data fabric from IBM can be leveraged using IBM's Cloud Pak for Data platform. Shrink that gap with IBM.